welcome to Upstage Downstage, with him, Richard Platt, seated in the upper circle.
And him, Stephen Rees, typically seated in the cheap seat.
This is the Theatre Podcast, where we discuss productions we've seen,
Things we've liked,
and may not have liked,
giving our complete unprofessional
and non-biased opinions.
So grab a brew,
Take a seat,
and let's raise that curtain.
On today's episode, we'll be discussing ourselves. Welcome to Rewind, Re-Listen, a retrospective on 100 episodes. So this is where we just take a look at what we've done so far and what we've achieved and how we feel about all that. So how's that for a little podcast?
Look at you with you making it up on the spot.
I know, and we might go into a couple of reviews of some plays that slipped the net, but before then, let's just we need a piece of cake really, just to celebrate, don't we?
We do.
Any excuse for a cake.
And 100 candles, that might cause a fire risk.
We'll just have the one. How do we feel about reaching 100 episodes? So Richard, how do you feel about us hitting this milestone of 100 episodes? Not that it is the 100th show we've seen, but it's the 100 episodes we've had out there.
It's a bit crazy, to be honest. From something that we thought about just doing to fulfill our creative needs, shall we say, while we were on hiatus doing theatre productions, I think we decided to watch others and reignite a bit of passion. And I think it's shown us that we've known quite a bit about theatre from different perspectives. And I think it's certainly expanded my reach of what I know. Certainly learning things from you, but also watching things and using my knowledge to watch other people's productions with a bit of a fine-tooth comb and still enjoy tooth comb, but also still enjoy it, but also look at the conception, learn from some of the bad choices and some of the good choices and some of the really, 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 really bad, weird, strange choices. Because I think there's been times where I really question how these people get away with, in the professional theatre world. Yeah. They're allowed to do these productions.
Taking your money as well.
And selling something off the back of a well-known piece of film or book or whatever.
Actor.
And then making money out of it, and it's almost like you're a sponge being rinsed sometimes, I think. And
it's amazing how many reviews we've seen of plays where we've seen them and think, well, did they just see the same play as we have?
Or is it because they just got tickets for it and didn't actually...
Pally.
They had to promote the production rather than actually be critical. Which in a way I'm glad we do how we do and analyse things from the audience perspective, but also what choices people make to try and entertain us, because sometimes I don't feel like they think that there's a time when they forget an audience.
But just think this all came back from our first viewing of Harpy with Superhard.
Yes,
because it was straight out of lockdown. We were sat watching this and I were tinkering with an idea of doing something podcasty, and we were just talking about that whole play.
Yeah. And I think we pulled it apart quite well and gave it the credit it was due. And we thought we needed to record it. And we've certainly learnt a lot about recording, shall we say, throughout this process.
Yes, those early years. If you think about it, we were very conscious about how we sounded. You in particular were very...
Really conscious, because I'm conscious that you've got to have a quality level with a podcast. You've got to have a quality level with the backing track, the sounds, the aesthetics of the actual whole piece almost, because we approach it the same way I would theatre really. So we needed to do it justice,
and we're getting there.
Yeah. It's always time to learn.
Yeah, we're getting there. Because you edited a lot of the first episodes.
Yes.
Because you knew how to do it. I mean, I did a bit, but not enough to the extent of how we do it now.
Yeah, exactly. And the construction of it all and putting it together into something that's got the same levels of everybody, and you can hear a lot, and you also get a little bit of a control over the loudness of each other and normalising it also. It feels very similar, but I think, you've certainly learnt a lot from what I taught you, shall we say, and then you've gone off and learnt more skills with the work you've been doing on your latest podcast series, your YouTube series.
Yeah. I can't remember when I took over. It must have been around the Dream Girls, Accidental Death of an Anarchist, that era. Then I started. I think the audience will know it because I made a conscious decision to put the outtakes in.
Yeah.
So the ones with the outtakes are the ones where I started and I edited everything and been a bit fun with that one. But yeah, early years, I remember I'd be at work. You'd send me a draft of, say, like Cluedo or something, because that was the third one we saw after Christmas Carol. But I think that one went out late because I kept sending it back saying, oh, there's a bit of a gap there. I've ummed and erred a bit too many times. Edit this, that doesn't sound right. Edit that and whatever. So that ended up going out 10th or something. But
yeah, and I think it was learning those bits, and it's
the biggest lesson is to let go.
It is.
Leave all the erms in, because that's just part of my nature. I do try and not to a lot of the time, because it's just aggravating.
Yeah, I think it gets repetitive, and then you also realise what you say more of than other things like, or know.
What was the other one we were talking about? Utilise was one word that we kept using a lot.
Taking things on a journey.
Going on a journey. Yeah,
we started repeating the same words, and I think you start realising that actually I say that quite a lot, and I need to stop, and I need to use some more descriptive words. So you start thinking of other things you can use to get the same message out.
Yeah, and I noticed since editing the episodes, one thing I can always pick up on you is you try and start off on a conversation, but then you'll backtrack and then completely change the sentence entirely and go off on a completely different tangent, or you'll say it in a different way, or sometimes you'll just end a sentence with and so
It's
so when
my
editing,
brain's going in the background,
Yeah, it's constantly churning out other thoughts.
Yeah, there's lots of.
So
thoughts
you don't know how to take your first step when talking.
No, certainly learn a lot about yourself when you start putting a microphone right in front of your face and having to just talk.
Yeah, the amount of I've had to delete out of all these episodes. My goodness.
Audacity hasn't got an filter.
It ought to. It ought to, really. So, oh no, I've just done it again.
Pound in the box, please.
If we take a look at the early years, the first 10 plays, can we get that up on the screen? Let's roll all the way back. So Harpy, A Christmas Carol, Sheila's Island. Oh, remember that. Oh, Cluedo was 9, not 10. Homecoming. Are any of the first lot, do you think, in hindsight now, looking back, that we were a bit harsh on them?
You know what? No, I don't. Because I think, personally, I've seen a lot of theatre since I was probably 7, 8 years old. So, and I've also sat through a lot of productions and ran a lot of sounding productions. So I'm quite critical anyway, and I know if something is off when it comes to theatre. And I think you're the same with the theatre that you've seen. I think, and we've also seen all the bad habits with productions and companies and also I think being involved in dramatics in general, you sort of I think I've not been too hard on some of the productions early on because they stood out as not being as good as other versions I've seen of certain productions,
which is valid.
Yeah,
it's entirely valid.
Exactly. I mean, even Harpy, that was a new piece, but that stood out as being good because of what happened, and I think
and the whole set and everything.
That was a one-woman production, and I think, you only have to look at sort of Tell Me on a Sunday and things like that are very similar but very different in sort of medium or context. It's just a one-woman production, but the magnifying glass is on that person. So for me, Harpy would still stand up now if we saw it again, because I think it got enough clarity and enough level. There was many levels in it to put it together.
We both gave it a standing ovation, and that's the one we saw at Buxton Pavilion Arts Centre. I think when it comes to Sheila's Island, for example, at the Derby Theatre, I gave it a slow clap and you gave it tumbleweed.
Yeah,
I feel like the script should have been rewritten or readapted for females.
Yeah.
But I think personally I was a little bit harsh on the actresses.
Yeah, I mean,
I think I probably didn't need to go down there, and I think that's ate me up a little bit in a way, because sometimes when you do this podcast as a review, the people you see, the actors, some people might have a filter. I don't, but then once I've said it, I have to then think, should I have actually said that? Because it's I don't think they were that bad in retrospect. You know, I just feel like maybe I was a bit too harsh.
I think for me personally, I mean, like you picked Sheila's Island out. I think because I'd been quite close to doing a couple of productions of Neville's Island.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed how close it was to the original script, like you said, rather than it being rewritten, which is disappointing on many levels, because you're getting a half-effort production before you've even put the characters on stage.
Yeah.
And then for them to perform at their best when actually it just feels like we've just changed a few names, but we haven't done the full rewrite. And I think it just felt, you know, to have the same structure start to end, I think that was where my critical eye was on it more than anything.
Our favourite theatres. Driving the length and breadth of this country trying to see these shows, Richard, which particular theatre do you think is one of your favourite go-tos? Because we've seen quite a few that have been quite spectacular.
Yeah, not necessarily in a venue that we expect it to be good. I suppose I'd probably say I don't really want to use the local theatres that I've been to, because they're the ones that I've normally gone to, so it's not necessarily, it's ones that have, for me it's going to be Stephen Joseph Theatre, just because of I've seen a few things now there, different things, different style, and I just think the space is being used very differently every time something's put on. And it's easy to look at what we've recently seen there, but then I'd have to remind myself we've seen other things in that space that have equally been very different. And
I agree
and
there, because Stephen Joseph Theatre was on my list of amazing theatres to go to, because you have a more immersive experience in a show. But compare that to the Crucible at Sheffield. Every time I've seen a show there, it feels like I've been unhappy with the production there. It's always been a bit of a letdown.
There's always been something.
Yeah, there's always been something that isn't quite right there. I don't think there's been that many shows or performances there that I've quite enjoyed at the Sheffield Crucible.
Yeah.
I think perhaps only one.
Yeah, I think, and obviously I'm not using other venues but that you haven't been to, but for me, Stephen Joseph has got a very similar feel to Royal Shakespeare Company, where you've got a space that you do feel close to the action wherever you sit, which is very similar to the Stephen Joseph Theatre. And I think that can alter how an actor performs, because there isn't anywhere to hide. They've got to capture you wherever you're sat, and I think that's really important. That sometimes I find it can get lost in other venues.
There's some great theatre places out there, particularly Leicester Curve. I really enjoyed that,
yes.
because it just feels massive.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can see the details as you're walking through once the show is over, of where all the costumes are.
And I also think the cleverness of design from the perspective of the studio theatre and the other theatre, the main house, they're really well designed that you can't hear either stage, even when they're both in full flow. You can't hear the other production, and it's very well cleverly back-to-back designed, so that two productions can happen at once, very close together, really. A bit like the Lowry, the Lowry equally has got it's theatre, well, two theatres very similar to the Curve in design. It's got two opposite ends, and also the Troubadour where Starlight Express was. For me, yes, that's vast, but actually the way it was designed it's like basically a space that you can redesign to fit any production in however you want, in a way.
That one very much felt like you were going into a roller coaster, say you were going into the preset.
Yeah, exactly. But it's almost flat. It's a weird old warehouse building that you'd think you'd never do theatre in there, and actually what they turned it into was a space that actually worked really well.
I think the most beautiful theatre so far would be the Leeds Grand
theatre. Yes, I'll agree with you on that one. I think because you expect always to be using the Buxton Opera House because that's like one of the ones up there, but actually Leeds, from walking in all the way through and the whole aesthetics of the building inside and out. Yeah, I think it definitely because it's so unassuming from outside.
Yes,
it doesn't look like it's going to be grand inside, and actually it lives up to its grand name.
But you say the Buxton Opera House, that and the Nottingham Royal,
yes,
and the Stoke,
Stoke
Royal, I think it's Stoke Royal, and the Sheffield Lyceum.
Yes.
They've all got a very familiar, very samey, but different colours.
Yeah.
You know, one's red and pink, one's green and gold, and so they all sort of look the same.
Yeah, exactly.
And have this grand appearance, and they are really nice theatres, but they're all very similar. So it's there's a couple of seats that are terrifying to sit on. So when we went to see Wicked, which was in Leeds, Bradford, that was at the Alhambra Theatre, wasn't it? Yeah. My goodness, they were scary, sitting right on the very top. It was very much
the gods were the gods. You were touching God up there.
Yeah. However, you didn't have much leg room, so you could literally fall over.
Yeah.
Up there, and it's very much similar to the Lyceum at Sheffield, right at the very top.
Yeah.
It was, and they're scary. And so whilst you've got the heights there, if you go to London to the Ambassador, where we saw Kathy and Stella.
Oh, yeah.
So you compare that to the limited leg room of the seating in the Ambassadors there, that was really uncomfortable on that one.
It was only made for Victorian ladies.
Yes.
We needed to cut our legs off, I think, to
not with guys like us that have discovered biscuits.
Yeah. And we haven't had our knees extended.
No, just widened. So those ones are pretty scary. But there was quite a few theatres where it just felt like we were just walking into this art exhibition. The one where we went to see the Frog and Monkeys.
Oh,
the opening of
Newton
that one.
And Deangate.
Yes. That was
The
very
Frogs.
weird. Yeah, that was very weird how you went into there. But within there was the theatre, the old classic theatre there. But the very front of that looked like you're walking into a museum.
Yeah. Well, and I think for me, that's, I'm glad you mentioned that one because I wasn't thinking about that one. But it's the fact that there's the original Vaudeville Music Hall Theatre still within the stark concrete mass that's the main new theatre. You've got this tiny little theatre that we went in to see this production that felt like you'd gone in a time warp back in time in the middle of this concrete building that is still in the middle of the fabric of the whole complex almost.
It was surreal.
It was surreal. I mean, I do want to mention there was not necessarily one of the best venues. It's not the best venue, but it's also the strangest venue is the Llandudno Theatre.
Yeah, I was going to mention that
which feels a bit like a swimming baths.
Yes.
In the sitting in your seats waiting, thinking, are the changing rooms around the corner? Because it feels a bit like it just felt a little bit sanitised and
what was it? It was a conference hall, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they turned it into a venue, but it didn't. It felt like the life had been sapped out of the venue almost.
That made Abigail's party set look so tiny.
Yeah, and for saying we were sat on the front row. Yes. Even that felt like it was distant and miles away.
No, it was very peculiar.
And they had to put really big tabs into the side to bring it into the middle of stage.
And it didn't help because they painted them black, so it still looked tiny.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's very similar to the Nottingham Royal Concert Hall where we saw Chicago.
Yes.
These things
great for orchestras and great for but
not
when
for stage shows,
not for productions.
No, so those two were ones that I didn't particularly enjoy as such.
I think
they
felt cold.
Life or history
they felt cold and not welcoming. It felt, I think that's the issue as well.
Well, the Hornchurch Theatre was quite enjoyable, and it's got a soft spot in my heart for that one because I've not particularly enjoyed any of the shows I've done. We've always had a really fun journey down there, which has been quite disastrous.
Yes, it has.
The outside looks lovely. The inside looks... it's okay, but it's just really... It's a bizarre experience
it is definitely.
Of that one. I can't work it out. It's a cross between a normal... a modern theatre, but then an amateur dramatics theatre that's been used.
It did make me chuckle because last week Sue Pollard was performing there.
Really,
Yeah.
it's so strange because it's got a lot of history, but then it looks like there's no history there apart from the posters. It's a really strange one. I like it, but for some reason it's just there's just something weird. Like it's not new, but it's just
it's an emu.
It's no emu. No, I don't know what it is about it.
I think, but yeah, again, it's like newer theatres. You could look at the Lowry and think, why did that feel warm and welcoming? Because I've never sat in the smaller studio until we saw 42 Balloons.
Yeah,
and actually that venue was lovely.
Yeah,
and yet why? Because it's a newer theatre and it shouldn't have that warm and welcoming feeling. And it did straight away.
That is another one that's set within like a museum, like an art exhibition, because you've got the Lowry gift shop and the painting area, and it's decorated out as if it's some kind of fun zone for kids.
It's interesting because I've seen quite a few productions, obviously at Edinburgh Fringe over the past few years, and that's quite funny because there's some venues that are lecture theatres for students, which gives you that same cold, white-walled appearance of like the pavilion in Llandudno, where you sat on these student halls tables watching a production when a lecturer normally would be teaching you something completely different. So they have a very similar like outlook.
Well, I was thinking of the decoration of theatres when we were in the Crucible last night.
Yes.
Going to watch Dancing at Lunas's. And I was thinking, this looks a bit dated. The carpet, it needs sorting the carpets out. And why haven't they got around to painting the concrete on the stairs and just around the sides? It looks horrible.
It's just
absolutely horrible.
But it's like the brutalist movement, and it'll be a brutalist building, that's quite a stark contrast. It's only like the assembly rooms in Derby. It's like this concrete jungle of things.
Just get it painted. It just looks awful.
Just paint fake pillars on it and make it look like
just get Banksy on it. We're going on a journey. Our most memorable theatre trips. Most memorable journey, Richard.
Oh.
I think it's whenever we go to Hornchurch, isn't it?
Well, I've got another one for you though.
Oh.
Between 42 Balloons and Wicked. Because we went to see 42 Balloons at the Lowry.
And then we went to Bradford.
But we went to Bradford to see Wicked.
Yes.
And we thought, it's 2 hours, we'll be fine. It's only 45 minutes to Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody decided to jump off a bridge, which is not the silliest. It's not a nice thing to say. However,
suicides on the way to shows.
It was such an unexpected thing where it was touch and go, shall we say. We were literally stuck on the motorway for probably 2 miles for a good half an hour. And it was, I think, from what I gathered, the actual everything had been sorted, and it was just a very strange situation that was quite eerie, but we're going to go and see Wicked now.
Yeah, we never really knew if they survived or not.
Because we didn't see anything when we got past that area, but it was just like the forensics were there, like marking the areas and things like that. But it was really weird because you didn't see anything. You didn't know what had happened until we'd looked after. But it was a bit like, and now we're going to sit and watch Wicked. I'd seen it 4 times, so I wasn't necessarily, it didn't affect me. Whereas Stephen's first time sitting at the back of the theatre, like in the gods, like on his own, with not much leg room, but after sitting in a queue, and it was a bit of a journey. It was definitely a journey.
I felt I was hanging over the bridge myself up there.
Yeah, but then we can talk about the Hornchurch version of the journey. So Richard decides to clip the back of his tyre as he's leaving the Hornchurch Theatre after seeing a production.
And who didn't have their wheel-changing things?
Was it the flood?
It was the flood.
So as we were going down the M25, I thought, there's a bit of a noise here. And what actually happened is I ended up with a flat on the M25.
And it's a concrete
section,
about
isn't it? Midnight. So I had to go into one of the pulling areas and ended up not having the right equipment to put my secondary tyre on because I'd got the wrong spanner.
Meanwhile, we were both stood outside your car right at this point, and we heard this telephone ringing,
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, who's phoning you, Richard,
Yeah,
at
we
this time
couldn't
of night?
understand because none of our
Where's this
phones are
noise
ringing.
coming from?
You know, none of our phones are ringing. We were really acting like the two damsels in distress who didn't really know what was going off. I'm normally good in a crisis, whereas that night I really was.
Everything just went out the window.
It just went out, yeah. And
you're too busy trying to find your wrench or something.
It was.
For the wheels.
So then while we were waiting, we spoke to somebody. We found out it was a camera.
I had a wee. They clearly saw me.
You had a wee,
and then I would have been on camera.
But
they
it was
seen
still
me
going
off
off.
And phone me up.
So we ended up speaking to the SOS people. We realised what it was in the end.
It was you.
Asked for recovery service through the AA, which I'm luckily part of. However, then a site manager turned up.
They were closing the road.
Because they were going to be closing 3 miles of the road from where we were parked
and we
forward.
And we have to shift.
And we have to move, but we can't move. And he hadn't even got a spanner to help us. So we had to wait for the recovery guy, who also had to drive another 1.5 miles up the motorway to get to us because he couldn't actually get onto our side of the road. So he had to drive up the wrong way of the motorway with a convoy and an agreement by the roadworks that were going to shut the road. They actually helped him get through to sort us out. Then we had to have a full escort because while we were waiting for an hour, we had all these vehicles going past us, these diggers and road surfacers and teams of workers and roadblocks and things coming through. So we were watching all this thinking, how are we going to get through this?
Mm-hmm.
And within an hour of all that happening, the recovery guy turned up, changed the tyre, put the temporary one on, and we had to follow the construction manager's car through what can only be described as its own drama, which was literally flamethrowers. It looked like the apocalypse. We were surrounded by. They were digging holes, putting more tarmac in. Then they were burning the road to set it. Then there was a tarmac wagon churning more parts of the road up, and we were driving through all of this. And then we got out the other side 3 miles later, and we had a 60-mile-an-hour journey all the way back to Derbyshire.
We didn't get home till about 5 o'clock.
It was around 5 o'clock in the morning.
What a palaver that was. And the next time we went to see Sucker Punch, I decided I'll drive the Saab. I'll take the Saab. So, yeah.
Certainly memory.
We've had some good trips, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's quite funny because when we do take these trips, we always start singing and putting on voices, and we do these little characters, and we always say we should record ourselves doing these characters on the way down there because we are literally in hysterics, and maybe one day we will get around to recording
and do an offshoot.
Yeah.
I will say though, I do want to talk about one other journey, the third journey in this whole.
Which one's that one? Oh, that's Stephen Joseph one.
The day Stephen decided, would it be on the Thursday that shall we go and see Noises Off again? So
no, Richard, I had to because the whole week it's been on my mind. I need to go and see it. I need to go and see it.
So Richard drives to go and to get into Stephen's car, and just as he's on his way to Stephen, he says, "Paul, can you drive?" Which meant that Richard had to do a 4.5-hour round trip unexpectedly.
No, that was because of my car.
No, it's because you were on late or on earlies, and you were like, "Can you drive?"
Yes, that was it.
And it was one of those moments where I was like, not.
Yeah, but
prepared.
I didn't know you were like doing anything like that. You never said anything.
No, I'd been at work all day, and then I was like,
yeah, but I was up at 4:30, so
yeah,
you
I was up at 5:30.
You should have said no.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have got there.
We wouldn't have got back.
No, it was just I think for me it wasn't that. It was more the fact that we spent 3.5 hours in Scarborough. We'd had fish and chips, and we managed to get some sweets and some drinks, and then after the show we just drove back, and it was like we've been to Scarborough for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And it was a bit surreal because I got home thinking,
I've
literally had like a quarter of a day I've spent driving to and from Scarborough, and I've had 3.5 hours there, and I've had the full effect, including sunshine.
Yeah, but the previous time we went to see Noises Off, the 16th, Right. That was the one where your car was in for an MOT
Yeah.
and failed.
Yours was on the
Mine was
legs.
on the brink of going wrong because it needed a new sensor putting on, so I didn't trust it. So then we used my car to go.
Yeah.
But because it was playing up, I said, I don't think my car will actually make it to Scarborough. So we decided, I'll try and risk it to York, and then we'll get the train from York to Scarborough, which we did, and it was fine. We got to see some lovely stuff there. And then we managed to get back. But the very next day, whilst my car was working perfectly on the Saturday to get to York, the previous day it was playing up. The Saturday it was fine. The day after, the Monday going to work, that was it. It had enough. It didn't want to move. It was
You've taught me to York and back, and now I'm not going to work at all.
Yeah, I had to go and get that fixed because I think I had the day off work there because I couldn't get to work because it just wasn't happening.
But after all that, it was worth every minute.
Yeah.
From both journeys.
Cars, yeah. Right then, I don't think we've had any more memorable. Well, we've had quite a few. Every time we go somewhere, it's always memorable. Most annoying audience habits. Well, I want to ask you, Richard, what are your most annoying habits with audience members?
Well, my main one.
Or the memorable ones that we can remember.
My main one is trying to hide that you're getting a sweetheart, but you're making more noise than if you just got the sweetheart and got the packet and just opened it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that whole we're going to take longer to open the packet and try and not hear the wrapper being undone, but actually we're making more noise.
But what is it with Sheffield, though?
I don't know.
Because every time we go to a Sheffield theatre, whether it's the Lyceum or the Crucible, something's always happening. It's mostly in the Lyceum. So we went to see Inspector Calls.
I was just going to say Inspector Calls.
Inspector Calls, there was Bugsy Malone in there, and then Best Marigold Hotel. Now, Marigold Hotel, we were right at the top, and someone was literally opening up a box of Family Circle biscuits.
And passing it around.
And the Inspector Calls was the one where someone was having what sounded like a bloody pot noodle, but was having Pringles, there was having Haribos, there was Maltesers going on.
But they got to get to the bottom of the packet. They got to put their hand right down.
Make sure they got the very last
crunchy noise that they could find.
It was pretty unbelievable. And last night at Lunacy's, I don't know if you heard it, but there was a gentleman next to me before the interval, I might add, had an ice cream. Scrape, 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 scrape. It's like just
Put it away.
Put your tongue in it and lick it, as they say. But it's like, what are you actually scraping up and getting here? There's nothing there. All I heard in my right ear was scrape, 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 scrape on the tub, the spoon on the tub.
I just get so annoyed with the pointless, just making people just make noise over nothing. And then, my other annoying habit now, and I'm really fed up with it, is passive use of checking for messages on your phone or WhatsApps or this, that and the other, and people don't turn the screens down. Just put your phone away and leave it away. It's like, it's like they literally have it on full brightness, and it's like we've lost the ability to sit somewhere for a few hours and not actually look at our phones. We've got these devices on our wrists that ping you a message. There's a reason I switch the screen off and it won't switch on when there's a notification. Because I don't want to see it while I'm watching a production. It's like people just can't let go for that couple of hours. And it's so frustrating. It really is. And that's societal, but I'm just getting really fed up with, with that distraction. I've even seen people recently leave to answer a call. Yeah. And you're like, it's really annoying that people do it because I don't know, unless there's dire need.
Well, it's inconsiderate as well of everyone surrounding it as well as the actors on stage.
Yeah.
Do you remember the case of the couple of drunken ladies that got told to shut up or they'll be removed when we was in Theatre Royal Nottingham?
I do.
Was that for the Woman in Black or was that the Wicked Lady? What show was that at?
It was Wicked Lady.
Wicked Lady.
Yeah, it was Wicked Lady.
I mean, it was a bad.
It didn't do anything. It didn't hurt. It didn't affect the production.
There was a lady in front of us who had to tell them off and do you mind? I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
We said, right on you. I completely agree with that. Yeah. Although what you
it might have been Woman in Black. Might have been Woman in Black. So it was more recent than Wicked Lady. I don't know.
I don't know. One was an imitation of the other, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
There's been quite a few of those. Been quite a few of those people that just seem to ruin it for everybody else and just talk and have a conversation when they're trying to watch a theatre show. Do let us know in the comments if you've experienced what's the worst experience you've had in a show with other viewing members. I'm assuming we've got people following us that might want to comment. I don't know, might not. The missing 2022 episodes. There are a couple of shows which we never got to record simply because we run out of time or, well, for various reasons. Those were Nine Night and Bugsy Malone. We should have actually gone to see Steel Magnolias as well that did the tour. I went to see it, but you couldn't make it because something came up for you, so that never happened. But for Nine Night, that was a Nottingham Playhouse production.
It was.
And it's quite sad with what happened to it because I'd seen it on the opening night.
Yep.
It was a wonderful production, a lovely cast, a lovely story. I was going to give it a 10 out of 10 simply because it was that good a show, and it told the story of this family and the whole point of it being Nine Night of the 9 days after someone died that they're all in mourning and the family coming together and how they deal with that. And it was very interesting to see that side of life from people from the black community. So it was very interesting, and it was lovely. But when you went to see it was it the Thursday you went to see it?
Yeah, I took my mum on the Thursday because it was one of those productions that we couldn't make on the same night for some reason. I'm sure there was some reason. Sadly, at the end of the night of the production, because there was no interval, so the production was a full. I think it was an hour and a half. It was nearly 2 hours, an hour and 50 or something. One of the actors sadly passed away backstage at the end of the production. So me and my mother actually left that night out of respect, and left the cast and the first aiders to do what they needed to do. But it was a very surreal night because it was a wonderful production, and equally I'd give it 10 out of 10 the same because of the way it'd been done. The pace was great. The cast were brilliant.
I think it was set in the kitchen of a London suburban home.
Yes,
I think it was. I think it was London. It was a Nottingham Playhouse and a Leeds Playhouse co-production. I'll just say this, and also it was written by Natasha Gordon.
Yes,
I just found that information out.
The production was wonderful, really well put together, and it was such a good, well crafted piece of theatre, really, and it left you learning a lot more about the family makeup and what happens in following the passing of somebody, and then sadly at the end of the production, Josephine Melville actually passed away backstage, and it was quite an eerie sort of feeling because one of the cast members after the bows came out and asked for if there was a doctor in the room, and then you just knew that out of respect it was time to leave the theatre. Really, it was more important for the medical. There were medical people went up on stage and went to help. So the time not to watch or to spectate is the time to leave and leave people to it, really. So, and also the cast needs support because it was such a shock, and because it was a really loud applause. There was a real sense of how well the performance went down. So for then that to happen, it was a shock, really, and I think it was clear that she died doing something she loved, but it was nothing prepares you for that moment, I think. So it was a very, very strange night, but
and also it's quite weird because of the subject matter of the play. It was nine nights about mourning the death of someone, so it was very ironic in a way that this would happen. Very, it's such a tragedy that this
exactly
had happened. Now, with that being said, if we think about the actual play, and the set design and the direction of it. It was one that I was really keen to talk about because I thought the set was amazing and everything worked really well together. But because of the incident, or the tragic incident, I didn't feel like it was right that we talk about it or review the play because of that, because it felt like it wasn't worth it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think now was the right time to say that we'd actually gone to see it. Because enough time has passed, because obviously it was the 20th of October 2022 when she'd passed, and that was the end of the show, really, that we can acknowledge that the show as itself and as it was, because I'm sure it was a new piece of writing
Yes.
as well.
Yeah. And it was a clever piece of writing, really. It was, I think anything that sparks thought or reminds you over the period of 9 nights as a play concept, and because there was no like break in it, it actually kept you
engaged.
Engaged and focused on it, and I thought it was a very strong piece of theatre. But it was comedic. There was funny moments. There was, it wasn't all steeped in sort of being upset all the time. It was showing, that you have to celebrate life, and and I think that was the important part. So yeah, it was. It's nice to reflect on something you've seen that actually still, personally, it's still. I still remember the how it looked and the set and the way it was done.
Because I particularly loved about you had the upstairs of it, and silhouetted through the back set of it, you could see her, the character, walking about up the stairs and through the back. So it has lasted. There's a lot of memories about it. But again, it's just one of them things which is. These things happen, unfortunately, and that just happened to have been one of them.
Yeah.
And we can come to the other play that we went to see, Bugsy Malone at Sheffield Lyceum. I think this was in 2022. Now, I wanted to go and see Bugsy Malone simply because of the era, the 1920s. And I had not seen anything about it before, and wow, was this a surprise for me, because lo and behold, there was a load of kids performing. Richard, help me out here.
I tried to warn you. I tried to tell you, but
no, I don't think you did.
I did, because I couldn't believe you'd not seen the film, because the film is full of kids as well.
No.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
You never said anything about it being a load of kids in there.
So it's no different. So
you might have said there was a load of kids in the audience, but no.
And fair play. There were talented children, but.
This was the year where you
jarring production.
Yeah, but you said this was a year for the kids, so this was the same year, 2022.
Yeah,
I think it was, because it was the same year as, was it identical?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said the year of the kids, and so again here we are with a load of kids on stage, which isn't so bad. And I thought it was quite a good production as a whole. The whole aesthetics of it, I just remember them moving the cars in and out with the lights and the.
I just think I think personally it's a weird production in the sense that the music's very same. I don't know. I've not really. It doesn't stand out as a good musical for me. It's got the aesthetics and it's got the 20s references, but I don't necessarily feel like it's
I think it's just a fun period play for the kids to get involved in with theatre and to try their hand at something different and be in charge of acting the grown-ups. I think it's great for kids. I'm just ashamed to say that I actually thought it wasn't. I thought it was just another show in that era. But I'm sure I saw a picture of grown men, adults in the imagery. Yeah. So anyway, you got anything else to say about Bugsy Malone?
Not really, because it's not my favourite part. It was I think it's personally. I think to become a big production, I just don't think it holds up. I think it's something that you can have fun with at a school concert or it's a bit of a dress up type of production, but I don't necessarily see it as being great as a big theatre production.
Okay. Shows that surprised us. Richard, I've got a category here of questions, and one of the questions is shows that have surprised us, the good and the bad. Now, I've made a list and you've made a list, so shall we just see between us if they're the same ones on the list?
Yeah.
And for whatever reasons. So let's start with shows that have surprised us in a good way. So I'll start off first to get the ball rolling. The importance of being earnest.
Yes, exactly got that on mine.
That one we saw in Mansfield. What was the name of the theatre?
It was Mansfield Palace.
Palace, yeah.
But I got tickets for, I think, the pricely sum of a £5 each because it was a last minute. Like, saw it one day, we went the next day.
And so these are just a bunch of actors on the stage trying to deliver the lines, but because one actor didn't turn up, they got use of an audience member, and so they picked on the audiences. And by the end of the show, you've ended up with a whole cast of audience members on the show, and the actor's not really doing anything.
Exactly.
And it was hilarious.
And I think, yeah.
And it's become so popular and really good that it's just been taught as importance now.
Yeah, as in it's now had the funding to do a proper, a bigger tour, and it's nice to see a production be taken and elevated to the level it deserves, really. And I feel that it is such an unassuming thing, because we walked in thinking, is this an amateur production? Because the set it doesn't give away. It makes you feel like it's going to be ropey, but then the cleverness was in everybody on stage, and
and that's really not to say that amateur productions are ropey. It looked like if you can imagine like a really bad hamdram set of an amateur.
I think
theatre,
when it's built to be professional production, and you walk in thinking, have they just handmade that? I think that there's a difference. There's
an eye for detail, and you can tell. You can tell that.
Definitely.
And I think that surprised me simply because I was filled with anxiety, wondering if they're going to pick on me to get on the stage. I mean, I'm always filled with anxiety for being picked on.
Yeah.
But the moment it's happened, you think, oh, that wasn't so bad. I'll do it. I'm glad to go up there and do it.
Exactly.
But it's the fear of the unknown I don't like.
Yeah.
But that I was pleasantly surprised because I was howling with laughter because I wasn't quite sure how to take this one. But it wasn't until like 10 minutes in that it's like the jokes just kept coming in, the humour, and it was just right for what we needed at the time, I think.
Exactly.
So what have you got on your list?
Kathy and Stella Solve a Murder.
Oh, okay, yes.
Because
that's not on my list, but yeah.
It's on mine because it was a surprise of how good it was going to be.
Of course.
It was a complete last minute.
Yes.
That morning, got today tickets for it that afternoon. Because
we knew we were going to see Starlight Express in London at the
we thought we'd get a matinee in while we were there.
Yeah.
So that was a very pleasantly surprised.
Yes. I think another one here would be Handbagged.
Yes. It's not on my list, but I can see why.
You go to see it thinking the worst.
Yes.
It's going to be political. It's going to be possibly even left-leaning, extreme left-leaning at that, bashing at both of them for either being head of state or just Margaret Thatcher, head of the Tories at that point. But it wasn't. It was quite well-balanced, well-rounded. It was hilarious. It was funny. It was good for all the right reasons. So that's why it surprised me in a good way.
Yes, exactly.
Have you got another good one?
Yeah, Drive Your Plough.
Yeah, that's on my list as well. That's a
Drive
good
Your
one.
Plough over the bodies of the dead.
The bones.
The bones of the dead, sorry.
It always confuses me, that title.
It's one that I remember, but I think it's one I couldn't tell you what happened and remember everything.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating.
Again, a bit like Warhorse, where it starts off with nothing and then just keeps coming and coming and coming with a lot of stuff. And then at the end of it, you realise you've just been completely entertained and just without ever feeling that it was dragging or anything like that. I've got another one.
Go on then.
Village Idiot.
Yeah,
Wasn't quite sure where that was going, but it was quite entertaining.
yeah.
And it was really funny for the fact that it was a Moon Balloon last production. No, not a Moon Balloon. It was a Moon something production.
Oh
Wasn't it?
no, Ramps on the Moon.
Ramps on the Moon. That's it. And it was their last production, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So that was quite interesting to see that, because I wasn't quite sure on it.
No.
And actually I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
As a new piece of writing, I think a chap called Samsung wrote that one. Can't think of his last name.
I've got one more good one.
I think it's on my list. Go on then.
Accidental Death.
Oh, okay. No, that didn't surprise me.
But I'd not seen it.
Yeah.
So Accidental Death to me was a surprise.
Dario Fo.
Because I've never seen a version that was that close up, and well, I've never seen the production anyways.
No,
but it
yeah.
surprised me because it was so unassuming as a production before you sit there, and then it actually becomes something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was mine.
I've got a couple more.
Yeah,
For good that surprised me. Ocean at the End of the Lane.
yeah.
That was one where it was another
I've got
blank
that something
set.
else, but that's one.
No, that's fine. So that surprised me of how good that was.
Yeah.
Because it was sort of linked to Stranger Things,
Yes.
isn't it? And
Well, it's
stuff
got
like
that world. It's that sort of like
Neil
Gaiman.
Gaiman, that's it. So he wrote that. So it's quite highbrow, that one. And it was, yeah, I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be good or not, because
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan of Stranger Things. It's
No.
a lot of these things sort of like a bit far-fetched for me. I don't know why I said that. But that pleasantly surprised me, as well as Pride and Prejudice, sort of.
Yeah,
that
got
really surprised me.
Yeah, that's on mine.
I suppose that's in a way importance of being earnest.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah, very similar.
It's like taking text from, years ago to turn it into something that's polar opposite, but also very similar.
Any more on the good side?
No.
So, what surprised you in a bad way that you had good expectations for and it went bad?
Best Marigold Hotel,
Yep, that would be one.
and well, that just the aesthetics, the look of it. Even when you sat in the room before it started, you'd
Yeah.
got high hopes, and then
Yeah.
it just went
High
on.
hopes and silver lining, man.
It was going downhill very quickly.
Yeah, it really did. I'd say Cluedo 2.
Yeah.
On the outside, Cluedo 1 was brilliant.
Yeah.
Cluedo 2 was the moment you sat down to see the stage, you knew you was in for a bad ride.
Yeah, exactly. You knew it was thrown together.
Yes. And also, I've got down Woman in Black.
Yeah.
Whilst the set was good, high hopes for it, after watching it, I was like, meh,
Yeah.
just not really.
It's up
Everyone's
the
getting
ante, yeah.
everyone's getting hyped up about this play being scary. No.
My other
No.
one
Yep.
is Unfortunate.
Oh, isn't that unfortunate?
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, I could see that.
Purely because I'd seen it in its progression from when it was really at the Udderbelly, but also in Birmingham in the studio theatre at the Hippodrome. I'd seen the different versions of it, and I felt like the changes they've made to the bigger production of it have actually worsened it rather than made it funny. And also, I don't use this word very often, but I was a little bit disgusted that it had been sold to a point where children were going to see it.
Yeah.
Off the back of Little Mermaid, and they got no warning that it was actually going to be quite crude.
I was very shocked at that children were being lined up to go and see this play, and they got adult content being delivered on stage.
But delivered to the
swear
point
words
of actually it's quite crude. It's not.
No,
it's not
classic.
It's not classy crude, and I was just disappointed. Unfortunately, I was disappointed.
Oh, how unfortunate. I never thought I'd use that voice again.
Yeah.
Okay, so any more?
No.
Rewind, rewatch, or repeated views. So here's another little one. Shows we've had to see more than once. And which one was the best version?
Noises Off in the Round.
Noises Off in the Round was the best
spot
version.
on version of and that
very disappointed with the rep.
Yes.
Because that was a touring one there, wasn't it?
Yes.
And there was just no energy. And I honestly thought I'd never want to see that show again. But the moment Stephen Joseph Theatre announced that they were going to do it in the round, we were like, I need to know how they're going to do that. And we've discussed that in the episode 99 or 98, whichever one it goes out
We
on
have.
at recently. So I'd say the one in the round is better for a lot more reasons. You get to feel the story and live the story and be part of the cast and the production crew whilst you sat there. They made more of it, and I think I'd see that again and again and again, that version.
100%.
Another one here is Book of Mormon.
Yes.
And I think that was a 2022, 23 production we saw. I had to see that in the same week. I had to take my family to go and see that one.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it more than once.
You know, yeah.
In London and in, like...
The moment I saw it, it's like, everyone needs to come and see this.
Yeah,
I can't believe how brilliant it
I
was.
took my family, but I'd also seen it in London twice, and I'd seen it. Yeah, it's just a crowd pleaser that hits the spot every time.
Yes.
But just very clever, very clever.
And then we have Abigail's Party by London Classic Theatre.
Yeah.
Abigail's Party by London Classic Theatre. I'll try and get that out.
What was that? Abigail's Party by London
Abigail's
Classic
Party
Theatre.
by London Classic Theatre. I did one of you and Classic.
Classic.
I put my tongue in the way. Yes, we loved it. We saw it at Derby Theatre first time round in 2023, and we liked it so much that we went all the way to Llandudno to see it perform there.
We did. Another
It was
seaside.
brilliant. Another seaside one. That was just a fantastic show. It really was. The whole cast.
The cast were brilliant. Yeah.
Were brilliant, and the set, everything was just like spot on for that one. It's very rare that you get to see a show more than once, because had we have been able to go back to London to see Kathy and Stella, or up to Manchester to see 42 Balloons again, I'd have gladly seen them
Easily, yeah.
Yeah,
Easily.
there are some, again, Brief Encounter at Scarborough, we've had the budget, we would have gone to see that one again. But yeah. Now then, let's move along to, also, Pride and Prejudice, sort of. It did another tour, and I liked it so much that I took my family to go and see it again.
Yeah.
On that one. You couldn't make that one.
No, I couldn't.
But my sister and my mum, they were like full of colds. They were coughing and bloody, was in the front row as well. So that was quite embarrassing. And one of the actresses pointed out to me if we wanted to play the piano at one point. But then they asked one of them, you know, the one who's dressed up in the male gear. It's normally the one with the ginger hair, I think, who plays the mother. And she was asking me about this book. Now I switched off at this point, and it was like, I don't know what you're on about. What book? Obviously, it's a Jane Austen Pride and Prejudice book at this point. And I'm thinking, oh, that book. Yeah, I know that. But I thought she was trying to catch me out, so I just said no.
But then to mention, it was a new cast as well. So
yeah, it was a new cast, so it was a completely different feeling. And I have to say, it wasn't as good as the cast I went to see it first time round. Now that's unfortunate.
It was, yeah.
But everyone still enjoyed it. It still lived up to expectations. Now let's move on. Most impressive set design. I've got a list of a best set design that we've ever seen so far. What's on your list?
Now, for me, Ocean at the End of the Lane was up there for set design.
Okay, yes, very good.
Starlight.
It doesn't start with a set; it builds on the set, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. It's just it's a clever one. I mean, Starlight Express, just for the aesthetics, and yes, it was missing a few things from what I remember in the Apollo, but it still technically was brilliant.
Yeah, I thought Mary Poppins' set was great. The dollhouse that opened up into several different sections. I thought that was really well crafted. I felt Mrs. Doubtfire musical.
Yes.
There's loads of sets on that one.
Yeah, there was.
And I thought that was brilliantly done to detail, along with actually the best exotic Marigold Hotel. Yeah. Brilliant set, the best set.
See, Murder on the Orient Express. That set was.
That
clever.
was another one that was okay. I like that one.
And
the one for the Book Thief, that had a really good set.
Yeah, that one did. Yeah.
But it's not as memorable though. That's the thing.
No,
for
exactly.
Me. Not as memorable.
Noises Off in the Round. I mean, I've got to mention it for set design.
Yes.
Just because of how they pulled off
the nothing on with the
nothing
noises
on.
off.
Yeah, everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I think that would be my top best set design because they're having to deal with the space as well. Mind you, I suppose I shouldn't really say that because that couple of fingers up at the ones that are really designed.
I also liked 42
Others.
balloons as a set design.
It was a good design
because it was
set in a balloon.
Set in a balloon, yeah, basically. But it was it made it brought the cast close to the audience, and I think that worked really well.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between those that are aesthetically good that matches the content of the show, and also just having a plain set.
Yeah, exactly.
For the actors to act in, like the Mousetrap and Exotic Hotel would be those particular sets, whereas and Cluedo as well. That was a really good set. But then you'd get the sets which are made up. Oceans at the End of the Lane, amongst others. You know, they move on. So that's a different sort of design there. Good Person of Sichuan. That was the craziest set I've ever seen. Yeah. That was with everyone's entrances being that of like a giant slide to slide into the sea. What the heck?
Yeah.
And then having to like deliver your lines or climb into a fag machine. Yeah, fag dispenser.
Really weird. Yeah, very, very strange.
I remember it all being pink. It's baffled me. Worst set design?
Well, Red Ellen, straight away.
Straight at number one, Red Ellen.
Yeah. Also, Wicked Lady, which was a poor man's rip-off of Woman in Black.
Yeah.
So, there's a reason we're picking those out as worst productions. But
then again, you've got Cluedo 2.
Yeah, Cluedo 2 was, it felt more like, it didn't really feel like a set. Officer and a Gentleman, that was horrendous as well.
I wouldn't say it was horrendous. I don't think that was too bad.
Yeah, but I think it just, I don't know, I just didn't like it. Now, that's what I call a musical.
That was a good set.
No, it should have been the video store.
In
context of the production, it was wrong for the... I think that's where I'm going with that. It didn't...
Yeah, well, there were certain scenes within that. Yeah. I wouldn't... It wasn't as bad as others. Right, let's move along. Best New Musicals. We've seen quite a few best new musicals or best new production. What's on your top list?
Well, I've got 42 Balloons as the main one because
snap.
I booked it on a whim because it was like, we'll give it a chance because I don't know if it's going to be any good or not. We went in, walked in the room, and you've got this chair that would have been attached to balloons before we'd even gone into the theatre, and they were like, have we done the right thing here? How can you make a musical about a man sitting on a chair with 42 balloons and, this, that and the other.
And you can.
And you can, it turns out. And it's now on Broadway at the moment. But I think, it was just one that I was glued to the minute I walked in and watched it and saw it be performed. And so, it's definitely like the top one.
And for me, I've also got, alongside that, Kathy and Stella Solve a Murder Mystery.
Yeah, agree with that.
Solve a Murder.
Agree, totally.
Because I felt similar to 42 Balloons, they both held up really well as new pieces of writing.
Yeah, they did.
And them both being musicals as well. It's just insane to think that someone can actually create something like that. I mean, you think about the writing of the musical scores for both of those and compare that to the Addams Family that we saw.
Yeah, totally.
Hard work.
Yeah, really is.
What is on our list of top 10 productions? So before we round this whole episode off, let's just go into a couple more lists of the top 10 productions of all shows together. What's your top 10?
Does it have to be a 10?
Well, you can have notable mentions. But we've seen over 100 shows now.
Yeah.
So...
It's really hard, this is. You do know that.
Mm-hmm.
These are in no particular order.
Okay.
Are we going to compare notes? So I've got Here and Now.
Actually, that's not on my top 10.
Well.
Nor is it on my notable mentions.
Outrageous.
I know, but I've only seen it once. I thought it was really good, but it's not on my top 10.
I saw it 4 times. Anyway, Noise is Off in the round, obviously.
Noise is Off is up there. It's very much in second place for me.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire is my notable mentions.
39 Steps.
Is my notable mentions. That was a great production, that was. Sheffield Lyceum, I think we saw that at.
Heathers.
No, I've not got that one.
Billy Elliot.
I've not got that one.
Brief Encounter.
Brief Encounter is number 7 on my list. Stephen Joseph Theatre, 2022.
So my notable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
Book of Mormon.
Okay.
Mary Poppins.
Yep.
Starlight Express.
Oh.
Dear Evan Hansen.
Okay.
Come From Away.
Yeah.
Book Thief.
Oh.
And those eagle-eyed out there, Book Thief is actually having a concert version in London within the next couple of months. So keep your eye on watch this space. That might be coming back as a proper musical.
See, for me, I've got at number 10, War Horse.
Yeah.
At number 9, Animal Farm.
Yeah.
Drive Your Plough Over the Bones of the Dead at
Yeah.
number 8. At 7, I've got Brief Encounter.
Yeah.
6 is Abigail's Party by London Classic Theatre. I've got 42 Balloons at 5. 4 is Accidental Death of an Anarchist. 3 is Kathy and Stella Solve a Murder. And then at number 2, Noises Off in the Round, followed by number 1, Book of Mormon.
That is a good list.
With notable mentions to Ocean at the End of the Lane, 39 Steps, Pride and Prejudice, Sort Of, Mrs. Doubtfire and Mary Poppins. Now, I do like Dear Evan Hansen and Come From Away, but they're not sort of like as close to the 50. Otherwise, you know, they'll be in my top 20, but not there. And The Book Thief, yeah.
What I'm translating that into is it's just so hard to pick everything because there's too many. Because they're all very different.
Had we have done this yearly,
it'd have been easier.
Well, you would have been able to say what was your top 10 for 2022 or 2023. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or top 5. It would have been easier. But now we've got 100 episodes to look back on. It's slightly difficult.
I think it's
now
better doing it now because there's more
it's
pressure to pick your own and you've got too many to choose from.
Oh, I always pick my own. But I think with mine, I've gone for the smaller productions a lot more so because I just felt them being slightly better than the bigger ones and such.
I think for me, 39 Steps and Brief Encounter. Well, Brief Encounter is up there because of the sheer brilliance of
the musical numbers as
the
well.
way they that was such an example of how to do act musician productions, as in it was all very clever in such a small space, really.
So what's on our worst show list? Now, lastly, we've got to talk about these. Unfortunately.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. What everyone's probably all been waiting for. The top 5 of the worst shows ever. Ever. Now, at the very start of our recording of this podcast, we hit one particular show which seems to be the linchpin and
it's our yardstick.
The worstometer that we've ever come across, and that is Red Ellen. Now, whenever something's bad, we always think, oh, it's a bit of a Red Ellen. Or whatever.
Yeah.
And we use it in life now.
Yes, we do.
You know,
it's like a red herring.
It's a red herring, but it's a Red Ellen. Now, the thing is, whilst the writer of the piece has done a new show and it's fantastic and we're going to review it shortly, this particular show of Red Ellen was notorious for having everything on stage and it just being so chaotic that it just ended up just the most stupidest thing we've seen.
Yeah, and even on the night we saw it, the room was that empty on a Saturday night where it was almost you could have just dragged people off the street to watch it. It was definitely not selling very well, shall we say?
No, I think it might not have to have anything to do with the writing per se, but I think it was questionable about the direction and probably the budget in terms of how they used the set.
But even the poster was better than the production.
Exactly.
And it didn't make any noise and it could have just looked at it on a wall and that would have been...
Well, that's what sold it to us in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
The poster. So, do I think after every show we've seen now that Red Ellen is the worst show we've seen? No, actually. No, it's not.
No, it's not. That's a big call, that is.
No.
Come on, then.
And I'll tell you why.
Why?
Wicked Lady.
Yeah.
Now, Red Ellen, I sat all the way through there. Wicked Lady, that was the first show I wanted to walk
Yeah, and
out
I
of.
would not let you.
No, and there's been a few I've wanted
I've
to
got
leave.
another one that I'm going to put up there, though.
Okay. No, hang on. Why is Wicked Lady so bad?
Why?
Why is it?
It was tedious.
It was very tedious.
The hype completely... there was a build up and a hype that it was going to be scary.
You couldn't leave your seat. You couldn't leave the room.
Auditorium. You couldn't this. You're going to be scared out of your wits and blah blah blah. And we got there, and the set actually bad set. This was a horrendous set. The whole fireplace that was horrible
with a room behind the fire.
But it was built out. Obviously, there's a room behind it because you could tell it was just
built behind the chimney breast as well, which made no sense.
But it was oversized and just wrong.
Sheets over things.
Yeah, and nothing about it was eerie. It was the storyline was awful.
If you travel on the train, you just don't move, apparently. If you're an actor, you don't move. You don't make that impression that you're
And yes, I also wanted to leave, but I also know that sometimes you have to stay and watch it right to the end.
That was
because you can't.
When they say it will torture you,
and we talk about Red Ellen being bad.
Torture you.
There's a reason we had to stay till the end because there was a blimp on stage and a wheelchair and a load of paper and there was mess everywhere.
Oh, in Red Ellen.
We wouldn't have seen that if we didn't stay till the end.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot for me to walk out of a production.
But Red Ellen wasn't that bad.
No. I'm also going to add another one that was bad.
Worse than the Wicked Lady.
I think, from a perspective of, I'm now going to pull my own teeth out.
So if we're saying Red Ellen is about middle at the moment, and Wicked Lady is really bad,
which one's more memorable? Red Ellen's more memorable.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
As in, it's the so bad it's good. As in, so bad that I'd watch it again just to see how bad it was.
Well, the fact she was putting her tights on, her stockings on, in an interview, to then be taken off in the next scene when she's having sex.
It was that. Yeah, it really made no sense.
Okay. Which one?
Titanic the musical.
Oh, I've not even got this on my worst shows ever list.
I cannot believe you haven't got that on there.
Do you know what?
And it's not even tumbleweed. It is horrendous. And when somebody said they was so excited that they were doing there's a pro shot being done. I heard it there was somebody really excited on the internet saying, "Oh, they're doing a professional shot of the Titanic the musical," and I was like, "Why?"
Oh, good God!
You can go and watch it in cinemas. It was bad enough watching it in real life.
I had completely forgotten all about that. I think my brain has just burnt it out of my mind.
I think so. I think it must have done.
Because that was just a production of moving the ladders about. That's all it
was.
It was the most stupidest set. It was written ridiculously. Just everything about that. It was a chore to even listen to the songs.
Wrong. Bad. Just no.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot all about that one. But I tell you what is another one, which was even probably worse than that.
Go on then.
The Crucible.
Oh, well, you know what? The Crucible the Crucible should have been good, but it was as much of a tangled mess as the microphone cables on the floor in the production.
I just cannot get my head around why anyone would do it so minimalistic, like it was some kind of strange amateur.
Wasn't even a dress rehearsal.
No, because some people were in costumes, the other people were wearing jeans and a hoodie and jumpers and stuff. It just made no sense. Like, where are we going with this? What is this? It was
just no.
It felt like there were GCSE students just trying to just read the script aloud.
I've got another bad one for you.
Okay, what is it really worse than The Crucible and Titanic?
If you wheel Sunita out with some leaves as the only part of the production that's worth watching.
See, now that's what I call a musical. I wouldn't class as being the worst show ever, but it's definitely on the list of being one of the worst shows ever.
Even Sunita didn't save it.
No, she couldn't save anything.
Because being so macho doesn't mean that it's going to make the whole production suddenly amazing.
The thing about it is, the actual comedy in there, there is a play in there.
Somewhere.
That's screaming to come out and away from all that mess.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was... it was still entertaining. To be fair on it, a lot of people thought it was very entertaining because there were just characters singing these songs that they want to hear. These are the kind of viewers that aren't particularly bothered about how deep a play goes or how it looks or if everything works together and the meaning of everything.
Well, it was god awful.
Maybe some people just don't have that kind of a depth or don't want to have that depth, but it was a coherent mess.
I've got 2 more.
Hold on, I've got another one to
Go on, then.
throw your way. How can we not have a top tier list, although we've got more than 5 now, of worst shows ever and not feature anything from Hornchurch? I'm so sorry, Hornchurch. I'm so sorry. Your Sucker Punch was good, though.
Yeah, it was.
Your Sucker Punch was great.
Was really great.
However,
he's going there.
The Flood.
No, the Flood was all right.
Well, I've got both down, so
yeah, the Flood was all right.
The Flood was okay for the first bit and the third bit. The bit in the middle, when the old, so in present day, that just seemed to drag on and on and on.
A game called Malice.
That was the worst one of them, though. I'd agree the Flood isn't so bad, but
a game called
Malice was really...
It was dire, because it was trying to be so much and it was so little. The episode says it all, but I think...
So pictures being everywhere, not being used.
But to have the murder off stage and you never see the...
And they trip in a bathtub.
The person who's tripped in the bathtub, and it was such a lame, weird reason... And it just felt flat because it was like, is that it?
Yeah.
Is that the twist? You know?
Yeah. We really do need to go back to Hornchurch and just try and...
We do.
Just see what else they've got going and see if we can find some kind of love for their shows.
I do have to mention An Officer and a Gentleman.
Okay.
Because there was just no substance. There was just too much rubbish in it that it just wasn't enjoyable. It was just sold on the name, and that was about it.
Yeah, I know you really didn't like that one. I mean, I wasn't really bowled over by it, but it's not made it into my top 5 worst shows ever, just because it was so forgettable. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't dreadful. Now Cluedo 2, Cluedo 2, however, that was just the right mess of things. I mean, the staging was just terrible. The whole characterizations were neither here nor there, and it just felt... if it wasn't for Mrs. White saving the day, or saving them, I didn't find anything remotely funny or interesting about any of this, and the jokes were so old hat as well, and it surprised me, because that was written by Lawrence Marks and Maurice Gran.
We've still not mentioned another one.
Oh, okay.
The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Okay. So this one, the reason why I avoided this one is because I didn't think it was the worst show. Because to have a worst show, you've also got to have a worst set. But I just think the script was very much bad, and the some of the acting.
Even if they'd have just done one of the film scripts, it'd have been better than doing what they did.
True.
Actually, to be fair, you know one we haven't talked about? Shawshank Redemption.
I did consider it.
And I think it's not necessarily... Maybe it goes in its own category. The one that shocked us in the sense of we were forced to do a standing ovation for something we didn't enjoy in the slightest.
No, everyone stood up and cheered because they thoroughly enjoyed it, and we were there thinking...
I was dumbfounded.
I was very dumbfounded.
Like,
people
why
found
is
me
everybody
dumb.
enjoying it?
Yeah, I just didn't take to that one at all. It was just so tiresome, and like the fight scenes were awful.
Oh, they were horrendous.
And I can't remember that much about it, other than it was just meh. However, I don't think the set was that bad. Thinking back, I don't think the costumes were that bad. I just felt it underperformed, and there was just not a good feeling about it, really. So for me, when I list the worst shows, it's really got to hit on every point there. It's got to have the set being just as bad as the acting being bad, the direction being bad, the script in particular has got to be really questionable at that. And, you know, from start to finish...
I mean, to be fair, we haven't spoken about Addams Family.
I was trying to avoid that one because I just finished editing it.
Or A Knight's Tale.
A Knight's Tale. A Knight's Tale wasn't too bad. It just.
It's been better without the songs.
I think it just lost itself where it was going on that one. But Adam's Family is up there as being one of the musicals that sort of like wasn't as good. But then again, like I say, was it the worst show ever? What's our most anticipated show for next year? Right, shall we move along to something positive now?
Yes, why not?
Right then, thank you very much for paying attention and listening to this if you have already done so. We might as well just look to the future now.
Yeah.
What most anticipated shows are on the horizon, Richard? I can think of 2 so far that I'm looking forward to seeing. That being Operation Mincemeat in February, which we'll be going to see in the
Lowry.
The Lowry. That's where it first started.
It's where it got one of its main breaks. So it started even smaller than that, but that's one of the main. That's the start of the tour. We're going to see it as well.
Okay. I'm also looking forward to what London Classic Theatre do next as well.
Yeah.
And The Waitresses is back on tour again, so that's starting 2026 in March. I'm looking forward to seeing that because I wanted to go and see it last time it toured around, but we never got chance.
No. We missed the tour, I think.
Yeah. So maybe next season. That one. I don't think there's much else on the horizon.
Priscilla,
Death on the Nile.
Priscilla. The Queen of the Desert. Beetlejuice, if we can do that one. Because that one's.
I would love to see Death Becomes Her.
Yes,
but I think we'll have to have a trip to New York to see that one.
But there is rumours in the water that it's coming.
It'll come to Manchester,
or it's coming to England. So
yeah, but they normally come up north, don't they? First
depends. It depends on which one takes it.
Anything else?
Yes, Hope Mill Theatre doing Little Shop of Horrors in Manchester. That one is also one that I'm intrigued to see.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a good way. So, Stephen, looking back, what does it feel like now we're at 100 episodes?
It feels surreal because I never felt it would go on for so long. Part of me feels like, what was the point in doing this? Because I had this thought ages ago in 2021 to do a theatre review, and I've always felt like, who would actually pay attention to see it or listen to it? Because, I mean, I wanted to do it as like a video thing as well. I'm not quite sure I want to see myself on screen anyway. However, the thing about doing review shows as a podcast, once the show is over, you can't necessarily, you can't go and see it again. So therefore, if our shows are sent out after the show is done, my concern was, well, who's actually going to listen to that if they can't see it once they've listened to this, or we can't promote it because it's no longer running again. But I think a lot of people have said they like listening to it because they remember going to see that show and they agreed with a lot of things we've said, or it translates to, or they saw that show by such and such a production and it generated a conversation there. So I think it's nice to know that we're getting followers and people are listening. It'd be nice that people engaged, but I suppose it's hard to engage if the show's already been and gone. So to some extent, it's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling that we've managed to do 100. And I'm glad I've hit 100. I can retire now and give it up, but I can let it go. But it's nice that we've achieved that milestone, I'd say.
Good.
Also, it's pretty expensive. I'll say that now.
I've seen a lot.
I've seen too much. No, I haven't. It's been nice seeing new shows. It's been nice seeing musical numbers, and it's been really, really interesting to have to go out of your comfort zone and see shows that you don't particularly have a good feeling for and be entertained and find new joy for it and know that there is something in the theatre world that will bring you joy. And there's nothing as satisfying as that, especially when sometimes you just feel crap about yourself.
Yeah.
So And also, if you are wanting to write for theatre, like I am interested in it, it helps you so much learning the process of other things. So how the design of the set comes together, the space that you'll be filling, the ways which you can do something. You don't have to think, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. If someone could make a show based on a horse, there's ways around doing that. If someone can make a farce with a load of doors but do it in the round, they can do that. You know, everything's possible. And I think it helps you tackle those fears that you might have as a writer, coming from a writing perspective, that, you know, the more shows you see, the more options you have. And that's been, I mean, I always knew that anyway. I've never bothered by that, but it's helped me a great deal in knowing how the sound effects and the special effects and all that can help bring everything together. So I'm much more aware of that, and also of the limitations as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's been 100 episodes, well worth it.
Yeah, that's it. And I think also it's been useful, like, you know, my perspective, same as yours. We wouldn't normally pick some of the productions we've watched, and I've been I've tried to find things that, and you have as well, that have challenged us, because yes, I don't like to leave a theatre if something's bad, but also, even if something's middle of the road, it's like you've got to sit through it, and it gives you perspective on what tickets are selling and who's buying what, and you know what's hitting an audience, what makes somebody buy them again or want to see it again, or you know. So it's really interesting to see that.
And finally, I've hit London, so maybe Edinburgh is next.
Yeah.
Then I go and
and
we can do a live from Edinburgh.
Yeah, definitely.
And one of these days, I think perhaps we ought to do one as a film for YouTube.
A film.
We do a film.
A film.
We record ourselves. We do it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But I've just got to stop erring and umming. And
stop all that.
I can be quite articulate in person. It's just when you're sat behind a computer screen and you're trying to have a conversation and think back as to what play and what happened in that play and so on and so forth. It's very difficult to keep that ball rolling.
Yes.
Without having to make some sort of noise. It's a bit of an irritating trait. But I'm aware of it. And on that bombshell...
on that theatrical moment...
Ciao for now.
Ciao.
So there we are. That's our discussion of our 100th episode review. We hope you found it insightful.
If not, entertaining.
Stay tuned as we bring you more of our thoughts
and opinions
on many theatrical delights in future episodes.
If you'd like to get in touch, email us at upstagedownstage@gmail.com. You can always join in the chat to share with us your views of a production.
Also, make sure to follow, share, like and subscribe to all our channels so you get every episode the second it's released. And we hope you join us again for another instalment of Upstage Downstage.